They called it Projekt Morgenstern. A weapon so secret, even its blueprints were drawn in invisible ink. Late 1944, Germany was dying. The Eastern Front was collapsing, the Allies were closing in from the west. Factories burned, generals argued, and within the concrete walls of Peenemünde, a handful of desperate scientists still believed they could turn the tide. Dr. Friedrich Adler was one of them. Once a quiet physicist from Munich, now the head of a team no one officially knew existed. His orders came directly from the SS Special Weapons Division. The message was simple: find a weapon the Allies cannot understand. And he did. Hidden beneath the Black Forest, Adler's team discovered a phenomenon they called Lichtbogenplasma, arcs of contained lightning that could be shaped, directed, and amplified using magnetic fields. It was unstable, unpredictable, and terrifying. They claimed the energy could vaporize steel at close range. When presented to the SS in November 1944, Obergruppenführer Kruger said only 6 words: "Build it before the Reich collapses." So they built it. The weapon looked nothing like a gun, more like a living machine. A 3-meter cannon wrapped in copper coils, breathing out ozone and heat. Its name was written on the side in silver paint: Morgenstern. The first test was conducted on December 8, 1944. An abandoned airfield near Stuttgart was chosen. Observers included SS engineers, Luftwaffe officers, and 2 generals whose names never appeared again in German records. Adler stood in the snow, adjusting the dials on the power array. His assistant, Helene Krauss, monitored the magnetic containment field, and in the distance, the test target: a captured Soviet T-34 tank. The field hummed, the coils glowed blue. A low vibration rolled across the snow, building into a howl that made even the officers step back. When Adler pressed the trigger, the world turned white. A single arc of plasma shot forward, a beam of condensed lightning twisting like a serpent. It struck the tank, and in less than a second, the entire turret vanished, melted, gone. The snow around it turned to steam. The observers fell silent. Even the air seemed charged with something unnatural, heavy, electric, alive. Then the generator exploded. 2 engineers were vaporized instantly. The coils melted and the smell of burned copper filled the air. Helene screamed, but Adler stood frozen, staring at the empty space where the tank had been. He whispered, almost to himself, "It works." Over the next 2 weeks, Projekt Morgenstern was relocated to an underground bunker near Lake Constance. The SS wanted to weaponize it for anti-aircraft defense, a lightning cannon that could shoot down Allied bombers before they reached Berlin. But Adler knew the truth. He had lost control of his own creation. Every test after that ended in failure or worse. One test melted the concrete walls of the chamber. Another caused a magnetic surge that erased all radio signals within 10 kilometers. And the final experiment, conducted on January 10, 1945, destroyed an entire bunker section. Witnesses said they saw a flash from miles away, but no sound followed. When rescue teams entered, they found the walls fused into glass. No bodies, no machines, just a dark residue, like burned mercury. Helene Krauss survived only because she had been sent to fetch power cables. When she returned, the laboratory was gone. Every document, every file, every name connected to Morgenstern, erased. That night, the SS sealed the entire site. They declared all personnel missing, and Adler's name was struck from every record. Rumors spread among nearby villagers of thunder underground, of lights flickering beneath the lake, of voices whispering during storms. But in the archives, Morgenstern ceased to exist. Decades later, in 1962, an American intelligence officer named Captain John Mercer came across a fragment of a coded German report while reviewing post-war documents. It described a controlled plasma discharge capable of destructive application against armored targets. The report ended with location, classified, Sutzi Schwarzwald, status, terminated. Mercer tried to trace it. The coordinates led to a forest near Titisee, where locals warned him of lightning that moves through the trees. He found an old access tunnel, sealed with concrete and rusted bolts marked with the SS runes. Behind it, his Geiger counter went wild. He filed his report. Washington classified it immediately. No follow-up, no recovery mission. But years later, in his retirement, Mercer told a journalist over whiskey that he once saw something move in that forest, a blue light, a pulse of energy that crackled in midair and vanished when he blinked. To this day, German military historians refer to Projekt Morgenstern as the weapon that never existed. No photos, no survivors, only scattered rumors and one melted tank still stored in a forgotten British warehouse, a relic that defies metallurgical explanation. Some say it was simply an experimental Tesla coil, too unstable for real combat. Others whisper that it was something far beyond human science, a glimpse into energies we were never meant to touch. And somewhere deep beneath Lake Constance, divers still report strange electromagnetic interference. Their compasses spin, lights flicker, and sometimes when the storm hits the lake just right, you can hear a low hum rising from the depths, like something awakening, something remembering. The morning star was never destroyed.
Winter 1983. The Cold War was at its peak, and the Baltic winds carried more than just salt and ice. A NATO research team, officially listed as a hydrological mapping unit, arrived at Lake Constance under the command of Colonel Peter Holberg, a man who had spent his career chasing secrets buried in old German archives. The team's true mission was never written down. They were searching for Projekt Morgenstern. Holberg had obtained fragments of a file from a retired OSS officer, a name scribbled in the margins of an intercepted German document, Adler Nacht Energie Versuch 44. Beneath it, coordinates, and a single word circled in red pencil, Morgenstern. The coordinates pointed to a section of the lake no one dared to fish in anymore, where compasses failed and radar blurred like static. Locals called it the Silent Deep. Their ship, the Helena 7, was equipped with the latest sonar and magnetometer systems. On the third day of scanning, the readings changed. "Sir, we've got something at grid 92, said Lieutenant Archer, his voice trembling. Holberg leaned over the monitor. On the screen, a massive circular structure appeared, buried beneath 70 meters of silt and rock. It wasn't natural. The pattern was too precise. A perfect spiral, 12 meters wide, with a metallic core still pulsing faintly. "What the hell is that?" one of the engineers whispered. Holberg didn't answer. He already knew. That night, he wrote a single note in his field journal. "Morgenstern sleeps beneath us." They brought in divers. 4 men descended into the freezing water, guided by cable lights that glowed like veins through the dark. At 60 meters, visibility dropped to nothing. The silt was thick, heavy, almost magnetic. Then, through the murk, Diver 3 saw it. A massive steel hatch, SS runes engraved into the metal, half covered in calcified rock but unmistakable. He reached out to brush away the sediment, and his radio crackled violently. A sound tore through the calms, like a scream buried in static. Then, silence. Diver 3 was gone. The remaining teams surfaced in panic. No bubbles, no trace. Just his tether line, burned clean through, as if cut by lightning underwater. Holberg ordered a halt, but curiosity is stronger than fear. 2 nights later, they went down again. This time, they brought a remotely operated submersible. The drone's cameras showed a tunnel leading beneath the lake bed, a reinforced corridor. It descended for nearly 200 meters before ending in a massive chamber. And in that chamber, the impossible. The Morgenstern cannon still stood intact, encased in crystallized frost and rust, its copper coils half melted, but still humming faintly, like a machine trying to remember itself. In front of it, frozen in place, was the silhouette of a man, fused to the floor by molten metal. The divers thought it was a statue. It wasn't. Holberg authorized a surface power link to the structure. As soon as the current flowed, every compass on the Helena 7 spun uncontrollably. Lights flickered, and from the lake came a low, deep hum, the same resonance Helena Krauss had heard nearly 40 years earlier. "Power surge, sir. The system's feeding back," shouted Archer. Holberg tried to cut the feed. The controls refused. One of the engineers screamed, his radio headset sparking violently. The sonar screen flashed a single phrase across its diagnostics: Liftbogen reactiviert. Plasma arc reactivated. And then the power grid exploded. The night sky over Lake Constance lit up like a storm. Bolts of blue plasma ripped through the clouds, striking the water's surface and forming a dome of light. Fishermen miles away saw the lake glowing, humming like a living thing. When it finally stopped, the Helena 7 drifted dead in the water. Every instrument fried, every recording wiped clean. But the lake was silent again. Almost too silent. A week later, the investigation began. Officially, the NATO team had suffered an equipment malfunction. The cause, unexplained electromagnetic disturbance. Holberg disappeared before his debriefing. Some say he was reassigned, others that he went back to the lake alone. In 1987, a diver found his notebook floating near the shore, pages half burned by something that left no ash. Inside was one final entry. "The machine isn't dead. It's remembering. It knows we tried to wake it." In the years that followed, satellite imagery over the region recorded strange anomalies. Lightning storms forming directly over the lake, lasting seconds, striking the same spot. Local fishermen reported seeing blue light beneath the water, like the reflection of stars from below. And on stormy nights, if you listened close, you could still hear it. A low hum that made the ground tremble, faint, rhythmic, almost alive. A private expedition from Munich University, using deep penetration sonar, recorded a brief but distinct pulse, an electromagnetic energy signature resembling an electromagnetic lattice. It lasted only 4.2 seconds, then vanished. The data was sent to European Defense Command. The file was classified within an hour. Its new name, Project Aurora Echo. But one researcher leaked a single still frame, a sonar image showing the outline of a weapon, massive and coiled, buried deep in the sediment. At the bottom of the image, a faint engraving could be seen. Adler. There are still no official records of Projekt Morgenstern, but deep within the archives of NATO's classified section, an unsigned memo remains. Whatever Adler built, it was not a weapon, it was a door, and for one brief moment in 1944, he opened it. No one knows what that means, but every few years, When storms roll across Lake Constance and the lightning flashes blue instead of white, locals swear they see something beneath the water. A pulse of light moving just under the surface. And when it fades, the air smells faintly of ozone. Like something remembering. Like something waiting. The morning star never died. It was simply waiting for us to find it again.